This is everything I eat in 5 days of backpacking. This is calorically dense, nutritious, and pretty budget-friendly food. Woo! I'm going to break this down meal by meal, going through breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then snacks. And then I will show you how I pack all of this in my bear canister, and also a couple of tips to make it easier to access your food on trail. Without further ado, let's start with breakfast. Breakfast! I'm already sweating. That's ridiculous. This is my show, gosh darn. You can either copy me exactly, or you can use this video as inspiration for creating your own perfect backpacking meal plan. I'm showing you 5 days worth of food, but you can easily scale this up and down depending on how long your trip is. So I have here 4 breakfasts for a 5-day trip. That's because on the very first day, I'm not actually gonna be eating breakfast on trail. I'll probably be picking breakfast up on my way to the trailhead, so that just leaves 4 breakfasts remaining. On the menu is fruit, oatmeal, and granola. Now, obviously you can just buy oatmeal from any backpacking meal brand, but I like to make my oatmeal at home because it's super easy to customize, it's really inexpensive, and honestly, it's very fun. My oatmeal base is the same for any time that I make oats on trail. I have about 3/4 cup of instant oats, and then I add in a scoop of protein powder. I like to add in some kind of dried fruit, some nuts, and then something sweet. I have added into this little baggie what I am calling a tropical oatmeal. This is dehydrated pineapple chips, and then I also have some macadamia nuts and some white chocolate chips in there. This is like the best cold soak oatmeal that I have ever had. If tropical oatmeal is not your vibe, my other bag of oats has dehydrated apple chips in it, walnuts, and then a crushed up Werther's Original. So you essentially wind up with this really fall, caramelly, like spice forward oat concoction.
A Werther's Original, what are you, 80?
If you plan on doing your oatmeal as a cold soak, I would recommend using the soft caramel Werther's Originals. So you don't mess up your dentures. You can just kind of cut up those little soft Werther's caramels and put them in. But if you plan on doing your oatmeal hot, if you crush up a Werther's Original, like a hard candy, it'll dissolve and melt really nicely in your oats. I have actually just written on my bag of oatmeal the amount of water that I need to rehydrate it. I have 3/4 cup of oats in here, plus 1 scoop of protein powder, plus all the other stuff that I've mixed in. And I find that 1.5 cups of water is the perfect ratio for how I like my oatmeal. I would dump this into my cold soak container either the night before or in the morning about 45 minutes before I plan on eating. Add in my water and then stir it up, wait for it to be fully rehydrated, and then eat it cold. If I want to eat my oatmeal hot, then I will actually just make it in my pot. So what I will do is boil water in my pot. Again, same amount, 1.5 cups of water, and then I will dump in this oatmeal, stir it up until it is like fully rehydrated, and then I'll just eat it. Cool? Now let's talk about my granola. Granola is a fantastic breakfast at camp because it doesn't require any boiling water and it is instant. Chunks of granola tend to be a little bit sharp and they are more likely to puncture plastic bags. That is why I have it here in this reusable plastic bag that's a bit more durable than just your standard Ziploc bag. The plastic bags that I have here are from Target. In here, I have my favorite granola, which is purely Elizabeth's original granola, but you can use whichever granola you like. And then I've added in a little bit of dried fruit, just kind of stuff that I had left over from my oats. And then on top of that, I have added in some instant whole milk. All I have to do is dump in 1 cup of cold water in the morning, seal this up really well, shake it, and I'm ready to eat it immediately. So that is my granola. Now there's one more thing that I make in the morning at camp, and that is of course coffee. In this case, I actually have this little baggie of my everyday dose adaptogenic mushroom coffee. When it comes to measurements in the morning, I just scoop like 2 sporkfuls into my pot of boiling water and just hope that I get the ratios right.
You sound like a scientist.
Thank you, I have my PhD in being cool. And with that, that is my breakfast. Each of these breakfasts is roughly 500 to 600 calories. I find that that's what I need in the morning to kickstart my day. Cool? With that, let's move on to lunch. On the menu for lunch, we have couscous with tuna and olives, and tortillas with meat and cheese, which I like to call trail pizza. Let's start with my couscous with tuna and olives. I have packed 2 lunches worth, so for 1 lunch, I'll be eating half of this couscous, 1 packet of tuna, and 1 packet of olives. So 1 serving of couscous for me is about 2/3 cup of couscous, and I've added in about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning per serving. You can obviously flavor your couscous however you want. You can even buy these boxes of pre-flavored couscous that are really great, but if you want to keep the cost down, just buy bulk couscous and toss in some seasonings. So now let me show you how I assemble this lunch. This is where my little Talenti cold soak jar comes in handy. So a Talenti jar is probably the most classic cold soak container for backpackers. It was kind of, as far as I know, pioneered by thru hikers who were getting Talenti when they were restocking in town, eating it, and then using this jar to cold soak their meals. But it's really handy even if you're just on like a short multi-day trip. I like to just mark the amounts that I need for both couscous and water directly on the jar. You see that little blue Sharpie line? That marks 2/3 cup of couscous. And then that second line up there marks 2/3 cup of water. So in the morning at camp, I put in my serving of couscous, I add in my water, I shake this up, and then I just put this into my pack and let it rehydrate while I am hiking. Then by the time I get to lunch, I have perfectly rehydrated couscous in this Talenti jar, and all I have to do is add in my tuna and my olives while I'm eating it. Yum! One of the biggest issues that I've found with this is that it doesn't actually hold that much stuff. However, what I found recently is that these Rubbermaid circular containers are actually only slightly heavier than a Talenti jar, and they hold 3.5 cups of food, whereas a Talenti jar only holds a pint. While I'm still using my little Talenti jar, I am gonna probably switch over to using this Rubbermaid container, but if you wanna buy some ice cream and then use the container as a cold soak container, you're in good company. That's what so many people do. All right, now I'm just using 1 packet of this Star-Kissed wild-caught light tuna in water. These little packets of tuna are so great because they literally cost like 60 to 70 cents, and they just are such a fantastic quick source of protein and calories. Adding olives to couscous and tuna doesn't really do much in terms of nutrition, but it does a heck of a lot in terms of fun. These are Love's individual packets of olives. You can actually find these at REI, you can find them online, and I've actually found them at a few grocery stores locally. And they're so stinking good. That makes up 2 of my 5 trail lunches, but now let me show you my trail pizza. Woo woo! I have tortillas, slices of pepperoni, mozzarella string cheese, or Laughing Cow spreadable cheese. Back when I first ate this as a lunch, I actually brought an individual like squeeze tube of tomato paste, and I would squeeze some tomato paste onto my tortilla, put on some chunks of cheese and some veggie pepperoni, and then I would eat it like a pizza. If you've ever had tomato paste on its own, it's really gross, and it was not a good idea. So now I basically just have the tortilla and the meat and the cheese, but I still refer to it as a trail pizza. All I do is take my tortilla, put some pepperoni on here, slap some cheese on it, roll it up, and eat it.
Pizza time.
I will have 3 of these mini street taco sized tortillas, and then either 2 mozzarella cheese sticks or 2 Laughing Cow soft cheeses, and then about 15 slices of pepperoni. Cool? I find that these little tiny tortillas are so much easier to pack into my bear canister than the really big ones. I am using shelf-stable pepperoni. You can really use whatever you want. There's even like veggie options for pepperoni. But this is just like a fantastic, easy way to get some protein and some calories at lunchtime. I showed you 2 different options for cheese. So I have these mozzarella cheese sticks, and I have carried these on a number of backpacking trips without really having any issues. But when it's really hot out, I feel like sometimes string cheese gets a little funky after a couple of days. And that is where I think that the Laughing Cow spreadable cheese is actually fantastic. If you're doing a super hot trip, dead of summer, you're worried about cheese going bad, go for the Laughing Cow cheese instead. Cool, so that covers my lunches. Let's move on to dinner. So for this trip, I opted to bring 2 pre-made dehydrated backpacking meals and then 2 less expensive backpacking meals that I created at the grocery store. Now on a 5-day backpacking trip, ideally on the 5th day, I am home before dinner time and I am like eating an entire pizza to recover from my trip or whatever.
Pizza time.
But I always pack an extra dinner just in case I'm out longer than I expected, or I'm not back by dinner time, or in case anything else happens on trail that warrants having extra food or calories. So rather than duplicating my dinners anywhere, I actually packed 4 totally different dinners. I really think of dinner time as like an opportunity for me to almost shop my backpacking menu and pick what sounds best. So first up, we have the jalapeno cheddar biscuits and herb sausage gravy from Pinnacle Foods. And then I have Farm to Summit's 3-bean chili and cornbread. Let's talk about my grocery store meals. We have Knorr sides, cheddar and broccoli with bacon bits and dehydrated vegetables, and chicken peanut butter ramen. On its own, this package doesn't actually have a ton of calories. So even if you eat this entire package of Knorr rice sides, you're still only getting about 500 calories. I try to aim to have my backpacking dinners be roughly 700 to 800 calories. And that is why I add in some stuff. I have some dehydrated red and green peppers. My only recommendation with dehydrated vegetables is try and avoid any dehydrated vegetables that have potatoes in them, because potatoes take a really long time to rehydrate or cook, whereas other dehydrated vegetables will rehydrate in just like a matter of minutes, soaking in boiling water. So I have my dehydrated veggies, and then I've also added in some bacon bits and my instant milk powder. All I will do is boil some water in my pot, dump in my Knorr sides, simmer for roughly 7 minutes, and then I'll also add in my dehydrated vegetables or whatever other mix-ins that I have. While this is cooking, stir everything together, and as soon as it is ready and rehydrated, I'll eat it out of my pot. Next up is my chicken and peanut ramen. You can use whatever flavor of ramen you want, but the reason I went with the chicken one is because I like to add in one of these Star-Kissed packets of white chicken. And I can dump this into my ramen, add a packet of peanut butter, and I basically have like a little chicken peanut noodle. Yeah, if you want to go for something salty and filling, ramen and peanut butter. This is my 4th dinner and my 2nd option for a less expensive grocery store dinner. Just to give you some perspective on cost, both of these dinners individually cost around $5. These dinners individually cost $15 or more. So you are talking about meals that, yes, are probably worth 3 times as much in terms of taste, but also cost 3 times as much as what you can get at the grocery store. Great, so that covers my backpacking dinners. Now let's move on to my favorite category of food, snacks. Snacks. Okay, so when I'm calculating how many snacks I need, I know that on trail, I need to have access to around 3,000 calories per day. This is obviously gonna be different depending on your body type or the trip that you are doing, but for me, I just take that total caloric need, I subtract the calories in my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, and then whatever calories are left, I know that my snacks need to equal that number of calories per day. Then I just multiply that by the number of days that I'm out on trail, and I have all of my snacks. Cute. So this is Pure Organic's layered fruit bar. There's nothing in this except for dried fruit, and that little hit of sugary, fruity goodness is exactly what I need when I'm struggling uphill or when I want to like take my mind off of how hard a hike is. I got these at Costco, but there are so many different options for fruit leathers that I think are fantastic. Fruit leather. Next we have my protein bars. So I have RX bars here, and I like to bring 2 different flavor of protein bars on my trips. Eating protein bars can sometimes just be so monotonous and awful, and so having different flavors helps keep it interesting. So I opt for RX bars because these are really high in protein, they're really tasty, they come in a wide variety of flavors, and they're also super easy to find at pretty much any grocery store. You could opt for whatever type of protein bar or energy bar that you want. This just happens to be my personal favorite. So my next snack is maybe a bit of a controversial one, and that is carrot sticks. You don't often get fresh food when you're out backpacking, but carrot sticks are just, I think that carrots are one of the best backpacking snacks or hiking snacks in general. They keep for a really long time, they are delicious and crunchy, they are sweet, they're easy to pack. Dude, carrots like fit in pockets in the side of your bag so easily. They're carrots! My mouth is like literally watering holding this carrot. I want to eat it so bad.
You look like you're conducting a symphony with that carrot.
Everybody has their weird backpacking snack. I'm sure you have yours. Don't lie to me and say you don't. Mine is carrots. Do not judge. One of my favorite ways to eat carrots is with peanut butter. Packets of peanut butter are such a great way to add calories without adding a ton of volume to your food. And while I have frequently just done like the store-bought packets of Justin's peanut butter or any other like inexpensive nut butter, I've recently discovered trail butter. And this stuff is so stinking good. So trail butter is a blend of different nut butters with some like flavorings in there. We have almond butter blend with dark chocolate and coffee, almond cashew butter blend with maple syrup and sea salt, peanut butter blend, salted brownie flavor. You can buy this at Garage Grown Gear's website. It's amazing. I also have 2 bags of snacky foods over here. I have mini little sausages. What are they called?
Long Jaegers.
Long Jaegers.
Long Jaeger.
Like Long John Jaegers?
I don't. It's German or something.
Long Jaegers. Long Jaeger.
Long Jaeger.
Long Jaeger.
Long Jaeger.
All right, we're not really entirely sure how to say whatever these are, but they are sausages. So that is bag number 1. In this bag, I have the amazing, the marvelous, the delicious Snyder's honey mustard and onion pretzels. These things are so addictive. Man, I don't know what it is about them, but they are so stinking good. Is it adding a lot of nutritional value? No. Is it adding some fun and some zest? Yes. And in my opinion, that's worth it. All right, so that is my bag of fun snack. I also like to bring a little sweet candy, and my favorite right now are High Chews. These are super easy to like eat on trail, to pack, they don't melt, and I just find them really delicious. I opt for High Chews, but any type of gummy candy will work, and if you are someone who really likes chocolate and you're backpacking in colder weather, then obviously chocolate is a great thing too. But this is really just candy, that's all it is. Let's be honest, this is just trail candy. Yum! So that is my little candy snack, and all that is left now is to talk about my drinks. I like to bring some packets of Throat Coat tea with me when I'm backpacking. Throat Coat is my favorite tea ever. They're so small, they're so easy to just chuck in my bear canister, and when I do want a hot drink at night, this stuff is really great. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite backpacking beverages, and that, of course, is LMNT. LMNT is an electrolyte drink mix that contains 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And there's no sugar in this. In my opinion, LMNT is the best electrolyte drink mix that I have ever tried. Not just because it is the most delicious, but also because it is the most effective. I am someone who sweats a lot and needs a ton of salt and electrolytes in order to be able to hike comfortably. So for me, 3 packets of LMNT tends to be enough to have for a day. If you have not yet tried LMNT, go to the link below, which is drinklmnt.com/MirandaGoesOutside. If you place an order through that link, you'll also get a sample pack of 8 of LMNT's most popular flavors. Now I'm gonna show you how I pack all of this food into my bear canister. And I'm also gonna give you a couple of tips to how to easily access your food when you are on trail, because nobody wants to dig deep into their pack and open their bear canister every time they want a snack. But there's a couple of things that I'm going to leave out and not put in here. And that is my lunch, my snacks, and my dinner for that very first day on trail. So this is everything I eat in 5 days of backpacking. So let's take those things out before we pack the bear can. This is all of my food for day 1 of backpacking, and I am leaving this out of my bear canister. I'll get to that stuff in a second, but first, let's take all of this food and get it packed into the bear can. So this is the Bear Vault 475 size canister. I find that this one is great for about a 5 to 6 day backpacking trip. The first thing that I want to do is actually pack my bigger meals into my bear can. So that is going to be my dinner, spare dinner, packets of tuna and chicken. I'm basically just like pushing my meals towards the sides and lining my bear can with the bigger stuff. We're just gonna keep doing that. Nor rice sides goes in, our granola. What I'm also doing is leaving out my fragiler packaging, so like my little Ziploc bags, because those do tend to puncture, so I want them kind of to be towards the top. So now I have basically all of my big packages of food in my bear canister. You can probably see that there are some gaps towards the bottom here, and there's a lot of space still in the top of the bear can. So the next step is actually to fill in all of those little gaps. You're essentially playing food Tetris. So we're gonna shove some things down in there and just fill in all the gaps. I've basically filled in all of those gaps. So now I'm gonna take all of my extra packages of food in these little Ziploc bags, the stuff I'd consider more fragile, I'm just going to lightly pack that in on top. This is just the stuff that I don't want to get crushed. Now, the very last thing that's going to go into my bear canister before I put this in my pack to start my hike is my dinner for the very first night of the trip. When I get to camp that first night, I want to be able to just unpack my stuff, open my bear canister, and have my dinner sitting right on top. That way I don't have to completely empty this bear canister out just to dig up my dinner meal, and it just makes the whole process so much easier. I'll actually do that for every day of backpacking. So when I'm going to sleep at night, I will repack my bear canister so that my breakfasts are on top, and then in the morning when I make breakfast, I will repack everything, take out my snacks, and pack the bear canister again with my dinner for that night on top. That is how I pack my bear canister. Now let me show you how I pack my food for day one in my bag to make it easy to access. Boop. What I like to do is actually leave my lunch stuff packed in an outside pocket on my bag. So I will sometimes put this in a stuff pocket on the front of my pack, or I'll put it in the brain of my pack. As for my snacks, I want these things to be like so easy to access while I am hiking. I will take my carrots, which I generally need to eat in the first day or two of backpacking because they're heavy and they will eventually go bad. I will stuff these in a side pocket on my bag. That means that these are really easy to get to, like whipping out a carrot and eating it on trail. So carrots go in a side pocket. My little fun snack, which in this case for day one is going to be my honey mustard pretzels, this will also go in an outside pocket. As for these smaller snacks, this stuff will all go in my hip belt pockets or in my fanny pack. I want to have access to these snacks so quickly and easily. This might seem really obvious to you. And if you're watching this and you're like, well, of course you leave your lunch out. Of course you leave your snacks out and accessible. Believe me, I have backpacked with people before who have packed their lunch for the day into their bear canister, or they've brought like a dehydrated meal that they have to cook at lunch. And to them, the idea that you could just easily pack your lunch somewhere you can get to it just didn't really cross their mind until they saw somebody else do it. The person I'm talking about is Rainer.
Look, I did it one time.
I will follow this exact same system for every day on trail. So in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast at camp, before I pack up my bag, I will go through the process of taking all of my snacks and my lunch for the day out of my bear canister, packing it in a place that's easily accessible in my pack, putting my dinner on the very top of my bear canister, and then I'll pack everything in my bag for the day of hiking. Cool, all right. So now I have shown you everything I eat in 5 days of backpacking and how I pack it. Hopefully this video has given you some good ideas for how to make your own perfect backpacking meal plan. If you have any of your own backpacking meals or snacks, let me know in the comments below because I would love to hear them. And if you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you outside. Bye. Woo, I want a carrot. Later.
I don't know how the song is after that.
Bye. These are the Jägermeister. What are they called? Jägerland?
Those are Jägermeister sausages.
McJagger sausages?
That's
what are they
it.
called?
They're McJagger sausages. They do look like McJagger a little bit.
Now.